Namaste, namaste, and welcome to this first of our Saturday morning Vinyasa classes in the summer term. And today we're going to look at spirals and twists, which are a lovely way to allow us to wring a little bit of tension out of the body, a little bit of stiffness if you've taken a break from yoga over our Easter holidays. So when you're ready, coming to sitting on your mat, in any position that feels good to you. Use a little block to lift your hips if it's more comfortable. Rest your arms, close the eyes or gaze gently downward, and just spend a moment feeling the contact of your body on the floor. So wherever your body is making contact, feel that sense of contact. Allow the body to rest down there to provide the support to lift tall, to sit up, to create space in the front of the body, in the back of the body, to lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling, but without rigidity, without tension, without gripping. And notice how your body is feeling on this fine Saturday morning. Notice areas of the body that perhaps feel a little fatigued, or stiff, or closed. Remembering to take a little bit of extra care with those areas throughout the class. And then notice too any areas of the body that are quieter, that feel at ease, spacious, soft. And then notice your breath. All of yoga is a negotiation or a conversation between the body and the breath, with the mind as an observer. Notice the breath that's in your body right now. Where is your breath moving? What are the sensations of that movement? And when you're ready, you can gently deepen your breath as you exhale, drawing your navel in to help air out of the lungs. And then breathing deeply into the sides of the body, the back, the chest. As you exhale, slowly releasing the breath and gently engaging across the navel to exhale more completely. Breathing into the rib cage, the collarbones, the shoulder blades. As you breathe out, soften the face, soften the shoulders, engage across the navel to help that breath out. Keep breathing in this way. Slowly, deeply, purposefully exhaling. And notice how you've stepped away from the other things in your life and come into your yoga space. How you have begun to speak to your body differently, or listen to your body differently, perhaps, just by being in this space. And you can keep your breath long and slow and deep at any point that you feel your awareness resting there. But for now, drawing your chin towards your chest, just feeling a gentle length down the back of the neck, between the shoulder blades, maybe even across the top of the shoulders, and rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder, chin back to the chest, left ear to left shoulder, and chin to chest, just going side to side. If you haven't done this movement through the holidays, then perhaps just re-establishing that relationship with movement in your body, finding that sensation of connection from the jaw and the ear, down the side of the neck, into the chest, the shoulder, the upper back. Maybe down the front of the neck, back of the neck. Just a little side to side today. We'll go one more time in each direction. And bringing your head back to center and bringing your head up again. And opening your eyes if you feel inclined to do so, and then just rolling the shoulders a little bit. You can start rolling them perhaps in the same direction to begin with, rolling the opposite way. We're going to explore a little deeper into these shoulder movements. So when you're ready, you could maybe roll the shoulders separately and feel that connection into the sides of the body. You can feel a little flow or ripple happening through the body, going the opposite way as well. Throughout class, we're going to work with the arm to create the wrapping spirals. So when you're ready, you can use your left arm with a soft elbow, making nice big circles. And going the opposite way as well, just finding a movement that feels good to you. And perhaps this is, perhaps you're watching the video, perhaps this is early or late in the day, and your body will feel differently at different times. So observing, listening to the body. Let's do the opposite side as well. Soft elbow on the right. Nice big circles. Feeling that opening down the sides of the body as well. Going the opposite way when you're ready. And let your head follow this movement. Let the rest of the body respond by moving as well. There's no need to stay rigid or hold in any particular place. And resting. And resting the hands on the knees, just making a little stirring circle with the torso as well. You can go in one direction, and because it's yoga and we like to balance, going in the opposite direction as well. And then we're going to come onto the sit bones. I'll just turn sideways so you can see, to balance. And you can leave your hands down if you like, and just let your legs do a little bit of waving around. Wave your legs around in the air. This is a half toddler wobble, using the arms for support. And then we're going to gather ourselves with the opposite leg in front, in this case, the left leg in front of the right. And then do another set of stirring. Stirring through the spine. It's almost like you're rotating your heart around the point where the spine meets the pelvis, going the opposite direction as well. And you can move your shoulders, your neck, the rest of your spine. You can make this as expressive or as intimate movement as you like. And then when you're ready, coming back to sitting, just taking the feet slightly apart, the knees nice and bent, and then rolling the toes, rolling the ankles, the knees roll inwards and outwards as you roll through the ankles. Just warming up the hip joints a little bit, going in the opposite direction as well. Very good. And then when you're ready, you can gather your legs in, and we're going to roll down onto the back of the body. So just hugging your legs towards you, rolling onto your back, and just beginning with the knees in towards the chest. Rest the arms out to the side. Take a moment to allow your spine to find its new shape against the floor, and we're going to take the knees slightly apart and just make circles with the knees going in the same direction. So feel that massaging the back of the body, and also engaging some of these deeper muscles across the abdomen and the back of the body as well. Let's roll in the opposite direction too. You can do this with your hands on your knees if you have a sensitive low back, and that would be useful, or if you're working on strengthening your core a little bit more. And then in the center, let the knees go in opposite directions. So just maybe extending through the legs a little bit. And going the other direction as well. Super stuff. That's a lovely bit of massaging for the back of the body. And we're going to bring the knees together, rest the hands on the knees, and then make very small, almost imperceptible circles with the knees going in one direction first, just rocking across your sacrum. And then in the opposite direction as well. Just a little massage for that very supportive and hopefully stable part of the back. From here, taking the feet down to the floor one at a time, we're going to start with the feet quite wide, the arms quite wide, and just swaying the knees from side to side. Little firmness here in the belly muscles to help support that movement, make it stable and steady. And you might also feel the sides of the body respond, the oblique muscles respond as you allow the knees to go from side to side. The next time your knees come down on your right side, just leaving them there. And it doesn't matter where they get to, as long as it feels comfortable, there's no pulling on your knee. Reaching your left arm past the left side of your head, the right arm out to the right side, palms turned upwards. If that doesn't feel good on the left shoulder, you can take that left arm out to the side a little bit more until you find a space that feels good for your left shoulder. And we're just taking a breath in and a breath out. So even when we hold in what seems to be stillness, the breath still moves the body. And you can feel that. Let's take another breath in and out. The movement of the breath, softening perhaps this posture. Releasing the left arm down to the left side, firm in the belly, and drawing the knees back to the center, just allowing them to go over to the other side. Resting wherever they get to. It's not about getting the knees to the floor. It's about how comfortable it feels in the hips, the knees, the ankles. And then reaching the right arm past the right side of the head, if that's comfortable for your shoulder. Taking a moment to just allow gravity and a little softening here. Relax your face, relax the muscles of the abdomen. Then take a couple of deep breaths, feeling how the breath moves the body, even when we're holding in stillness. And after your next exhalation, allowing the right arm to come back to the right side, firm in the belly to bring the knees back to the center. And we're going to bring the feet together and the knees together and just gently do a very similar movement. So the arms are out to the side. And as we take the knees over to the right, the left heel, sole of the foot rather, comes off the floor to follow. And then coming back to the center, a little firmness in the belly here and over to the other side. If, like me, your knees like to separate as you move into your twist, that's okay. So we're not trying to hold rigid or force the body to do anything in particular. We're creating a little bit of firmness through the core so that we can move safely and with stability. But just exploring how this feels differently in the pelvis, differently across the obliques down the side of the body, but the upper body nice and relaxed. Next time your knees come over to the right, extending your left leg towards your right hand. It's just a little extension of the leg, and then bring the bending the left knee, gathering up the right knee as you come back to center and over to the opposite side, extending the right leg towards the left hand, bending the right knee. Use that momentum to gather the left knee and come back to center. So we're going from side to side, a little bit from side to side, just using that leg extension as a little momentum to make the movement flow. That's probably the best way to describe it. Flow from side to side. We'll do one more to the left, and then we're going to come back to center for a little counterposing bridge. So here, draw the heels towards the buttocks, not as far as they can go, but a little bit more, and take the feet just gently apart. Bring the elbows down by the side, so we've got robot arms. Roll the backs of the arms, elbows, and shoulders down into the mat quite firmly. A little firmness in the belly, gently pressing the head down, and then firm the heels of the feet into the floor to lift your hips up. And keeping all of the parts of the body that are active, just rolling up and down into bridge pose and releasing. So keeping that active pressing down of the upper body for support. And just allowing yourself to feel the engagement of the back of the body, the buttocks, muscles in the low back, the backs of the legs. We'll do one more up and down. And then as you come down, relaxing the arms out from the sides of the body, drawing the knees into the chest and just hugging the knees towards you for a little moment. You can leave the knees towards you, or you can take the knees over the hips or somewhere in between, it doesn't matter. And we're going to keep the knees towards each other, rest the arms out to the side, firm the belly again, and come back to that twisting action. So letting the knees come down to the right side and back to the center and to the left side. And you need to use a lot more effort from your core. So we're building into this. If this one feels like it's a little bit too intense, then go back to having the feet on the floor. As you come to the right this time, extending your left leg towards your right hand, and then using that knee bending to gather up the legs to go to the opposite side. Try to keep the opposite shoulder on the floor, but you might find it useful to either look towards that opposite hand as you go side to side, or look towards the hands that you're traveling towards, whatever feels good. And I tend to wiggle my way down my mat as I do this. So if you do that too, remember to adjust your arms so they don't end up over your head. Just a little control, one more to each side. And we're going to come back and use this movement for the basis of our summer term flow, but not this week. So coming back to center, just resting the knees towards the chest, separate the knees and make any movements that feel good. So I like to use hands on knees to move the knees in opposite directions. A little stirring of the thigh bones in the hips, a little massaging across the low back. And when you're ready, you can hold the knees towards you and rock backwards and forwards through the length of the spine. Sit bones to shoulder blades, balancing on the sit bones as you come up and massaging through the length of the spine until you're ready to come into sitting again. Super, excellent. So the next part of our sequence, we're going to move into hands and knees, but we're going to do some wrist opening first. So with your elbows down by your sides, interlacing the fingers, and with the fingers or the hands gripped together gently, making figure of eights with the wrists. So you can do this really slowly, or you can do it more rapidly, and a little bit of both is probably useful. But just noticing how your wrists feel, if there's any. So I feel no discomfort in my wrists when I do this, but sometimes after a lot of practice on the hands, several classes in a day, my wrists can feel a bit tired. Let's go the opposite way as well. And this helps to release that tension. It helps to develop Often it's flexibility in the wrist that causes discomfort, a lack of flexibility, that is. Okay. So once we've gone in both directions with this action, we're going to separate the hands and just stretch the right hand forward and use the left hand to bring the fingers of the right hand back towards the body. So you have your inner elbow pointing upwards, the wrist, the inside of the wrist pointing upwards, just gently creating that sense of stretch and openness across the inside of the wrist. And here, try to avoid doing a movement that brings your shoulders up towards your ears. So if you do that, then almost certainly you've chosen a too intense a position. And we don't necessarily want to lock the elbow straight, but you can straighten and soften the elbow a little bit. Just find the place where you get the best sensation of length without strain. So without force, the breath is relaxed, the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. And then gently letting go here with just releasing slowly so that we don't create any lasting sensations. And then the opposite side. So reaching the left hand forward, using the right hand to pull the fingers back towards the body. And I noticed there my shoulder just creeping up. So I know that I've maybe pushed a bit too much. I can soften the shoulder down. Take a moment to make sure that I'm not forcing or striving too hard. In yoga, we try to take the ego out of our practice, try to take the mind dictating or instructing out of the practice. Allow the body and the breath to coordinate, maybe a gentle straightening and softening of the elbow to find the place that feels good for you. And with face relaxed, shoulders, breath soft, gently releasing. And as you release, maybe gently doing some wrist rotations. And that can feel quite intense, so we can shake out as well. And the other way that you can do this is to do the fingers individually. So if you reach your right arm forward and just use your left hand to draw the little finger of the right hand back towards the forearm. And then the next finger, I call it the ring finger, some people call it the fourth finger. And then the middle finger. And then the first finger. See, it doesn't work. If you call this the first finger, the ring finger can't be the fourth finger. Doesn't work. And then your thumb, perhaps a little bit. I find it sometimes a little hard to get my thumb in a good position for me because I have arthritis in my thumbs. It's just the way it goes. And gently releasing on this side for a little wiggle. And then the same thing on the other side. So reaching the left hand forward, drawing the little finger backwards. We don't have to force or strain. We're just looking for that sensation of space, openness, length, without too much of a stretch. And then the ring finger. And then the middle finger. All the while keeping the shoulders relaxed, the breath relaxed, the face relaxed. The first finger. And then finding a position that works for your thumb. And gently relaxing, wiggling through the fingers, rolling the wrists again, perhaps doing a little shimmer of the shoulders as well, if that feels good to you. Okay, so from here we're going to come to our hands and knees. And so adjusting clothing if you need to. I'm sure I'll have to do that several times during our class. Coming onto your hands and knees and placing your hands wherever feels good to you. So if you want your hands a little bit further forward, that's fine. It tends to be less of a strain on the wrist. And if you're really tight in the shoulders, and that happens a lot if you're bulkier in the muscles, and if you're a man, then you can have your hands wider than underneath the shoulders. Underneath the shoulders is not necessarily the best place for all of us. You can even turn your fingers out a little bit if you like. We're going to start with the knees somewhere where it's comfortable as well, maybe underneath the hips. You can have the toes tucked flat or tucked under as you choose. And we're going to begin here with, again, some neck movements. So find a way to perhaps circle through the head. Find a way to circle your head. That's the instruction. Go in both directions as well. Noticing as you circle here, how differently it feels from when we do it sitting up, and perhaps how wiggly the spine wants to be. My spine already wants to wiggle. So we're going to let that wiggle happen. We're going to let that rotation happen through the whole spine. And let your shoulders, your neck, your hips all move in both directions. So a little bit like almost like cat and cow, but for the sides of the body, the front and the back of the body, and sometimes with the two sides of the body acting quite differently. You can soften the elbows a little bit so you're not too rigid in the shoulders. And making sure to have a little bit of support through the belly muscles as you move. And then when you're ready, you can come back to a sense of stillness in the middle. And we'll do a classic cat-cow. So as you inhale, imagine you're dragging the heels of your hands backwards, which draws your chest forwards and open, looking up. And as you exhale, press the mat away from you, round through the spine, tuck the tailbone under, lift the belly, chin towards the chest, just not too much. Inhaling, rolling the spine the opposite way, soft in the elbows, dragging the heels of the hands backwards. And exhaling, rounding, scooping, lifting, creating that bend in the back. We're going to go forward one more time like this. And as we come back into that cat pose, gently hovering the knees off the floor as well. Inhaling forward. And exhaling, coming into cat and hovering the knees off the floor. One more time forward. And rolling backwards through the spine, hovering the knees off the floor. And coming back down into hands and knees. And here, just lifting opposite hand and knee a little bit off the floor to feel that sense of release or stability in the center. What we want to try to do is to encourage our core muscles and our shoulders and the lower body to do a little bit more work so that the wrists don't take all of the strain of hands and knees. And then coming into child's pose with the knees wide, toes together, we're going to turn the palms upwards and rest the forehead to the floor. Just for a long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. We'll take one more long, deep breath in. Long, slow breath out. Maybe open and close the hands a few times, wiggling the fingers, before setting your hands again on the mat and coming back to hands and knees. And here, we're going to create that stability in the center. We're going to lift the body away from the floor and free the right hand so that we can reach the right hand and the hips back down to the heels and make big circles with the arms as we move the spine backwards and forwards. So you can move your body in any way that feels good. There's no need to keep anything in particular holding or rigid, perhaps just a little bit of stability through the center, going the opposite way as well, feeling free to open the chest, the shoulder as much as feels comfortable. And in your supporting left hand, think about your fingertips and the heel of the hand. That's what's supporting the most. And then we'll come back to hands and knees. And we're going to reach the right foot back and slide the right foot over to the left side, so behind the left hip. Look towards that foot behind you so you feel a little openness in the right side of the body. Maybe pressing into the right heel a little bit. You can use your hands to help to press that right side more open, even moving your hands a little bit to the left if you like. And then sliding that right knee in behind the left knee. Walk your hands towards the right side of the mat. So you're almost directly in front of your left knee, a bit diagonal on your mat. And then taking the hips towards the heels, just doing a little wriggle of the hips from side to side. A shimmer or a sway of the upper body. That helps us to access different parts of the back of the body and the outside of the hips, but we're not aiming to get our hips down to the heels or the forehead to the floor or anything like that. It's just an exploration of the sensation in the body. When you're ready, you can come back to hands and knees. We're going to take the feet together, knees apart, and then come into our child's pose, but this time sliding the back of the right hand through between the left hand and left knee, reaching the left hand forward for a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. Maybe just repeating that one more time, pressing the hands into the floor, so the back of the right hand and arm, the left hand pressing into the floor to create that sense of spiral, maybe a little bit more sensation through the upper back. Not too much though. And then when you're ready, you can use the left hand for support, come back onto hands and knees, and we'll do the same thing to the opposite side. So just beginning with a little bit of firmness in the belly. We don't need to do our cat-cows again. We're going to reach the left hand back to the heels and let the hips come down as well, and then reach up and over. And we're doing 4 arm circles in this direction, but feel a little stability through your belly muscles and allow the spine to move. When you're ready, going the opposite way, 4 times in this direction. You can soften your elbow, just feeling a bit of support through that right hand into the fingertips, into the heel of the hand. When you're ready, coming back to hands and knees, we're going to stretch the left leg back behind us and then sweep the left foot over to the right. Look to the right to feel that left side of the body opening. You can extend through your left heel, and if you want to, you can move your hands a little bit more towards that right side, just to get an extra feeling of length down that side of the body, but only if you need it. You might not. And then if you want to, you can, sorry, not if you want to, you can bring your left knee to the back of the right knee, just crossing the legs and then walking your hands a little bit towards the left so you can line up in front of the knees and wiggling the hips, swaying the shoulders from side to side, feeling the torso respond, maybe the head responds as well. A little bit of accessing of that wriggling sensation. And when you're ready, coming back to your hands and knees, we're going to take the knees apart, bring the toes together, settle the hips back and slide the back of the left hand through between the right hand and the right knee, reaching the right hand forward, settling the shoulder, left side of the head to the floor for a deep breath in and a deep breath out. And then try pressing the back of the left arm and hand and right hand down to see if that improves the sensation for you. It might not be necessary, in which case you don't have to do it. Another deep breath in and deep breath out. And in your own time, coming back onto your hands and knees. Excellent. So this time we're going to keep the knees more together and the hands can stay further apart. That's okay. So this time we're going to work with a little bit of a leg extension, and I might move just a touch forward on my mat to give me a bit of extra space behind. So extending the right leg behind you, we're going to inhale as we look up, dragging the heels of the hands backwards, lifting the heel of the right foot behind us, leg nice and long. And exhale, draw the right knee to the left elbow underneath the body, and feel free to twist through the hips as well. Inhaling, lengthening and lifting, opening the chest. Exhaling, rounding and twisting, spiraling underneath the body. Inhaling, we're doing 4 of these. This is number 3. Exhaling, rounding and twisting, firm in the belly. Last one, inhaling. And exhaling. And then again, inhaling that leg long. Exhale the foot to the floor. Inhale as you swing your right foot to the left side, look to the left. And then exhale as you swing it all the way around to about lining up with your left knee. So almost like a gate pose, but on hands and knees. And here we're going to bring the left hand towards the head, towards the center, of the mat. And we're going to reach the right arm up and make nice big circles. So circling again 4 times in each direction, reaching that arm wide, feeling the stability of the body underneath you. So press down into the left foot, knee, right foot, left hand. Opening your chest as much as you feel able to, and remembering to do your 4 rotations in the opposite direction as well. And you can keep your movement more intimate if you prefer, or if you like that sense of expanding and opening, you can really get into that. Next time you take your arm up, reach up, and then slide the back of the right hand across the back of the body to reach towards the left hip or perhaps the left thigh. If you can, catch hold of something like the waistband of your leggings or your t-shirt and use a little bit of traction to open the right shoulder head backwards, looking up, sideways or down as you prefer. Be careful not to get too rigid in this left arm. So a little softness in the elbow and the shoulder, taking a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And then very gently unwinding the spine first, then releasing the hand. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders or apart again. We're going to swing the right leg behind the body to the left side, looking again to it. And then use a little bit of momentum to swing that right foot all the way forward to the outside of the right hand. And then just moving a little bit backwards and forwards here in your lunge. So again, opening or playing with the hamstrings, just a touch. We're going to walk that right foot in towards the center, or in front of the right hip really, to be able to press the feet apart and bring ourselves up into an upright lunge position. At this point, I'm going to adjust my clothing. Maybe you do too. And here we're using the feet for support. So we want to really press down into the left toes, the left knee, perhaps using some softness underneath the left knee if you need to, and the right foot as well. We want to engage the legs, the hips, the buttocks, the belly muscles. And we're going to reach forward with the arms and up. Let the arms come down behind us, opening the chest. And then one more time, forward and up. And from here, take cactus arms and twist to your right side. Return to center. Let's do that one more time. So we're going to reach forward and up, opening the chest, reach the arms back and down. One more time forward to come up, and then taking cactus arms and twisting to the right. We're going to untwist, and I've got my back to you, but you'll be able to follow. Taking the hands down to the long side of the mat, lengthening both legs and pivoting on your toes so that both feet end up pointing forwards to the long side of the mat. And I will turn so that I'm facing in the right direction. So from here, we're going to, let me think. Yes, we're going to reach the hands to the left leg, bend the left knee, lengthen the right leg, and then reach the left arm up into the air. So a little surfer squat, we're going to pulse up and down here whilst reaching the left arm up to the left side. And then unwinding, we're going to come back the way we came in, pivoting our feet towards the short end of the mat, coming into the lunge and just doing one more round. So reaching the hands forward, press the feet away from each other, reaching up, opening the chest, let the arms come down to the sides. One more, reaching forward and up, and then dropping the arms into cactus hands, rotating to the right, unwinding, taking the hands to the long side of the mat, lengthening both legs, pivoting on the toes. They both point towards the long side of the mat. Shift your weight into bending that left knee, lengthening the right arm. Right hand stays down, left arm reaches up. Just a pulse up and down on the left knee here. And then unwinding all the way back to center. We're going to take the hands either side of the right foot in our lunge, lengthen the left leg, and step into downward facing dog. So here in downward facing dog, a paddle of the dog, making sure that you wiggle your shoulders, maybe turn your head a little bit, as well as lengthen through the legs. And then we'll take a waving vinyasa. So I like to step my dog a little bit wider for that. You can do this from your knees if you'd like to. Soften the knees, drop the hips towards the heels, press off the feet to round through your spine, looking back towards your feet until your shoulders are over your hands. Drag the heels of the hands backwards to open your chest into up dog. Wrap the shoulder blades to the back, soften the elbows, soften the knees. Do a little bit of swaying or twisting if you like, and then coming back through plank to downward facing dog. We'll do one more like that. So you can do it from your knees if you know that variation. Hips to heels, bounce off, pressing through the toes, opening your chest. Taking a few breaths in up dog. Feel the power of the buttocks support the back. And perhaps this time bending the knees to come backwards into that crouching dog and expanding into the down dog. And then from here, resting the knees to the floor, forehead to the back of the hands or the floor. You can rest your arms back to your heels or your ankles if you're not resting your head on them. For a couple of deep breaths, just allowing the body to collect all of that information. Soften the face, soften the belly muscles, soften the shoulders. And if you want to, you can just wriggle your hands a little bit, roll your wrists to soften the wrists as well. And then when you're ready, you can come back up into kneeling. And I'm going to turn around again because I started in the wrong direction, but this should be the right direction, hopefully, for the left side. Adjust clothing as needed. And we're going to interlace the fingers here. Turn the palms of the hands out. Lift the arms up. And here, making circles with the upper body. So we want to hold a little bit of firmness across the belly muscles and circle the hands around the ceiling or towards the ceiling so that we open up the wrists a little, lengthen through the arms, wiggle through the upper body, and go the opposite way as well. So this is a smaller movement. We're trying to find those connections that we've been working with in our spirals and our twists. When you're ready, releasing the arms, letting them drift down to the sides of the body. Roll the shoulders a few times if you need to. I've done this class a few times this week, and I must admit my shoulders are beginning to feel quite strong now. Okay, so we're going to come back to our hands and knees to do the whole thing on the left side before we do our counter posing and relaxation. So coming onto your hands and knees are together, and we are firming the belly, lifting or lengthening the left leg behind us, lifting the left leg up. Imagine you're dragging the heels of the hands backwards to open the chest, firm the belly, firm the buttocks. And as you exhale, round through the spine, draw the left knee to the right elbow, lift the heel towards the buttocks, scoop the belly in. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, rounding and scooping. Slight twisting. Inhaling, opening. Exhaling, wrapping, spiraling. Last one. Inhaling. And exhaling. Inhale the leg long, exhale the foot to the floor. Inhale as you swing the left foot to the right side, look towards it, and then exhale as you step that foot out, just in the same line as the right knee, sorry. Draw your right hand towards the center of the mat so it's more underneath your head. Firm the belly and feel that sense of lift. So we're pressing down to create space without getting really rigid in the shoulder or the elbow. And then when you're ready, you can reach your left arm in 4 big circles in each direction. So just find that openness of the chest. As you make those rotations, a little support from the belly muscles, from the buttocks perhaps, and the opposite way as well. And feel free to move your head with the movement, your spine in any way that feels good. This is our last rotation here. We're going to finish with the arm reaching up and then sliding the back of the left hand behind the body towards the right hip. So you can reach for your thigh. My arm won't do that on this side, but you can reach for your thigh if you want to. You can hold onto your waistband. You can simply press the back of the arm, hand rather, towards your back, and then use whatever leverage you have to rotate the head of the shoulder backwards. Press into the mat below you. Open your chest looking upwards, sideways or downwards as you choose, not getting too rigid in that supporting arm. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And then unwind your spine a little bit first before sliding your hand back out and down to the mat. Take the hands back into the more neutral position. Looking forward, swing your left leg behind you to your right side and use that movement to create a bit of momentum to swing the left leg all the way forward to just outside the hands. We're going to rock backwards and forwards to play with a little bit of the length of the hip flexors and the hamstrings. And here, if your wrists are getting tired, come up onto your fingertips or take fists. And that will rest the wrists, both of those. When you're ready, we're going to inch that left foot towards the center between the 2 hands. And then imagine you're pressing your feet away from you to create that sense of support to be able to lift into an upright lunge. And we come back to our waving arms. So we're going to reach the arms forward, the hips come forward, firm in the belly, reaching up, opening the chest and reaching the arms back and down behind us. And then we reach forward again and only up. Take cactus arms and twist to the left. Untwist, we'll do that one more time, reaching forwards and up. Opening the chest, firm in the belly, firm in the legs as well. Reaching forwards and up. taking cactus arms and twisting to the left. And then we're going to untwist and take the hands down to the long side of the mat, lengthen both legs, pivot on the toes, take the hands to the right foot or in that general direction, lengthening the left leg, bending the right knee and reaching the right arm up towards the ceiling and pulsing the the right knee up and down. Surfer squat and a little bit of a twist. Then we're going to untwist ourselves, moving the hands back towards the left foot, pivoting back into our lunge position. Reaching the hands forward, press into the legs to create support. Firm belly, firm buttocks, arms come back and down. Reaching forward and up. Opening into cactus arms and twisting to the left. Untwist, revolve to the long side of the mat on your right. Rotate on the feet, lengthen both legs, take the hands to the right side, reach the right arm up and gently bend the right knee and lengthen. Little pulse in your surfer squat. And then here, we're not going to come out of it as we did on the previous side. We're going to come back into the center. So both arms long, both legs long and hands in the center. And here we're going to bend both knees and then lengthen both legs and reach the left arm up, twist to the left, bend both knees. Leave the left hand down, reach the right arm up, lengthen both legs, twist to the right. So we're doing a little bounce and twist, but very controlled. Bounce and twist. We'll do this right side and then one more to each side. Bounce and twist to the left. Bounce and twist to the right. And then this time, we're going to do that bounce, but we're not going to leave the right hand down. We're going to reach the left arm up. The right hand is also floating away from the floor. See if you can free yourself to rotate a little bit more. If it's too much for the hamstrings, you can bend the knees a little bit. And then come back to the center, hands don't touch, and rotate to the opposite side. Create that lift. And then we'll do two more to each side. Bounce and twist. And one more to each side. And bounce and twist. And then coming back down into your forward bend, we're going to pivot on the toes back to the long side of the mat over the left foot, hands either side of the left foot, and step back into downward facing dog. Paddle in your down dog. Feel free to wiggle in your shoulders. Lengthen through the legs, or just find some time to rest. If you're quite happy in down dog and you want to hold, remember, even in stillness, our breath is moving the body. But if you find it nice to turn the head from side to side or softly dip the shoulders, then that's great too. I like to take my feet apart, come onto the tiptoes, drop my heels to the left, and then bend and straighten the legs. So I get that sense of length down the right side of the body. And then do the same on the opposite side. Bend and straighten the legs. Length down the left-hand side of the body. And then in the center, we're going to bring our knees down and then come all the way down to lying flat on the tummy. In whichever way you feel is most useful. Pillow out of the hands, forehead resting on the hands, toes towards each other, heels apart, and a gentle wiggle of the tailbone from side to side here to release any tension in the back of the body. Also letting your face relax, the belly muscles relax, the buttocks relax. And then coming to stillness in the center. Just for a couple of long, deep breaths, which helps our spine to realign itself This is a much more natural shape for the spine than when we lie on our backs. See if you can release the effort from the hips, the hip flexors, the shoulders, the jaw. And then we'll do some flying angels here. So bringing the legs towards each other, we're going to keep the toes or the tops of the feet pressing downwards. Hands can come down by the sides of the hips, palms turned upwards, forehead to the floor, and just rolling the pubic bone down towards the mat to engage the buttocks a little, lifting your belly muscles a little if you're able to as well. Keeping the feet down, inhale as you lift your head and shoulders and arms. You can look slightly forward if it feels good for you. Lift the palms upwards and then exhale, reach the arms over the head, but still off the floor, palms turned down and look down. Inhale, sweep the arms back, look up. Exhale, reach the arms over the head, look down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling, just looking down. Inhaling, arms to the side. Exhaling, arms over the head. Inhaling, arms to the side. Exhaling, arms over the head. And we're going to finish by resting the forehead on the back of the hands again. Toes towards each other, heels falling apart, legs relaxing, and just shimmying the hips from side to side. Take a moment. And then when you're ready, you can come back onto your hands and knees. You can rest in child's pose if you'd like to, or you can come all the way back onto your heels to kneel up, which is quite a nice thing to do. And we're going to use a block for our counter posing in this class. So if you have one handy, that's great. And if not, a sturdy book will do just the job as well. So if you've got a yoga block, you will find that it has 3 different levels. So you've got the lowest level, the medium level, and the high level, if you consider this to be the floor. And for this practice, what we can actually do is use the long side of the block underneath the spine. So if you don't have a yoga block proper, you can still follow the instructions with your sturdy book, but please don't use the spine of your book for support. Invest in a yoga block. They are a worthy investment. So when you're ready, coming to lying down on your back, just reaching the arms out to the sides of the body, feet on the floor, and let your body come into this new shape. Feel a softness as your body settles in this new shape. An acceptance, a surrender. And then to begin with, we're just going to do a little bit of releasing. So the feet are wide apart, the knees are wide apart, wide-ish apart, and we're just going to sway the knees from side to side. So a touch of effort here across the belly muscles as you sway the knees from side to side. Relaxing the shoulders, the jaw, the chest. Next time your knees come down on your right side, you're going to leave them there. And just as we did at the beginning of the class, reach the left arm up past the left side of the ear. And take a breath, making sure your shoulders are nice and relaxed and you can really let go of tension and effort there and across the face. And if you want to, you can encourage the inner left thigh and left foot to the floor. And if you have space and you need a little bit of extra effort, you can rest the right foot on top of the left thigh to help wherever you get to. Find a little bit of steadiness and let the breath move you as you hold and breathe deeply. Soften the face. To come out, uncross the legs if they're crossed. Release your left arm down to your left side again. Firm the belly to move the knees back to the center and just do a little sway from one side to the other so that you release any tension from holding. And when you're ready, you can allow the knees to come down on the left side of the body, reaching the right arm past the right ear. Check your shoulders are nice and relaxed to begin with. Relax your face, your jaw. If you want to, you can encourage the inner right thigh and right foot towards the floor. And if you've got space and you want to do a little bit more, you can rest your left foot on top of your right thigh, just to encourage or help that sense of length and surrender. Holding steady, allowing the breath to move the body. When you're ready, you can uncross your legs. Draw your right arm back to your right side, and with a little firmness in the belly, shift the knees back to the center. And again, just do a little wiggle from side to side. It's quite a nice thing to do. And then here in the center, we're going to bring our feet a little bit closer towards the buttocks and use our blocks to do a supported bridge pose. So back bending is the perfect counter pose to twisting or spiraling, as we've been doing today. So firming the heels into the floor, lifting your buttocks just enough to slide that block on its lowest setting underneath the sacrum and release the hips back down. When you do that, you can step your feet a little bit further away from your buttocks to open that space at the back of the thighs and reach the arms away from the body. And just spend a few moments here. Often we skip quickly through our counter poses, but actually counter pose is as therapeutic as our asana work. So let us spend a few moments here softening the face, the shoulders, the effort in the core of the body, and finding that space where the breath moves the body so that we're never still in that sense of holding or rigidity. And if it feels good to you, you can try extending one leg a little bit further, stretching the right leg, maybe a little bit out to the right, doesn't have to be just directly forward, and feeling that open space across the front of the pelvis, particularly the right side of the pelvis, and seeing if you can take your right hand and just give that knobbly bit of your hip bone and the space directly to the inside of that, a little bit of warmth, massage, a little bit of release. We're often tight in the hip flexors. I say we, the royal we are often tight in the hip flexors. Actually, it is often women who are tight in the hip flexors. So, although, you know, it can be anyone. And then if you want to, you can just gently wave the sole of your right foot from side to side, or you can sway the whole of the right leg from side to side, just with a little bit of effort through the belly muscles. And then coming back to the center, slide the right foot in, And slide the left foot out. Left leg long, giving that space at the front of the pelvis a little bit of massage or warmth or contact. If you feel that that's useful for you, don't have to do that. You can feel that openness, perhaps a little wave of the sole of the foot from side to side. Or if you want to, you can slide your left leg from side to side. It can be on the floor or off the floor, as you choose. And then when you're ready, some stillness and sliding the left foot in. So if that felt comfortable with this low setting, if it felt like just enough, you can try doing that once more to each side, or you can stretch out both legs, almost turning the insides of the feet up towards the ceiling to really relax that space in the front of the pelvis, and making sure that it feels comfortable in the back of the pelvis as well. If, like me, your back needs a little bit more bend to feel that sensation, that tapping into, then you can bend your knees in, feet a bit closer to the buttocks, lifting the hips and turning the block onto its middle setting, but like the spine of the book, down your spine. So we want to support the sacrum and that space at the back of the body that is in the center. But we don't want that support to be too high up the spine, so it interferes with the curve of the back. So really your block will be now down more between the buttocks, with just the top of the block supporting the sacrum. So if you're not sure where that is, if you feel those bony bits in the front of the hips that we massaged earlier, you can feel the hip bones as you move the hands around behind the body, and they join in the center at the back of the body on the sacrum. So that's where your block definitely needs to be. So you're up on the block, but it's down the length of the spine, not too high up, so not very much above the sacrum, but it can be below. Then take a moment here just to feel stability there. So it's a little bit more bendy in the back. You might want to settle your shoulders, widen the arms. You might want to take your feet slightly away from your buttocks as well, just to make sure you feel really stable there. And then here, just for a few breaths, softening all of your effort in the face, the shoulders, the belly, the buttocks. Feel the breath moving the body. And then if you want to, you can extend your right leg and just see if that feels comfortable. With the right leg extended, again, feeling that open space across the right side of the pelvis. And if it feels comfortable with your right leg extended, you might see if you can balance with your left knee drawn into your chest. Use your left arm for support, and you can even use your right arm for support as well. If you want to balance on your sacrum and just let your right leg hover slightly off the floor. Now, we're talking millimeters off the floor, but you don't have to do that. You can keep your right heel down if that feels good to you. If you have problems with your sacroiliac joint and it sometimes gets displaced from doing wide leg posture work or unilateral posture work, then you can again sway your right foot from side to side or tap the heel of the foot across the floor out to the side and back across to the left. So you don't have to do any of these, but you can explore to see if that feels good, trying to balance on your block at the same time. And then when you're ready, you can release the right foot to the floor. Just take another breath with the left knee held in and slowly let the left foot come to the floor. Slide your right foot in. Observe the difference between the two sides, because if you have imbalanced sacroiliac, it's usually one-sided, not always, but usually. So it might be only one side needed for therapeutic purposes. And then you can extend your left leg.
Feel that openness in the pelvis. And then if it feels like it would be useful, you can bend the right knee into your chest, hold it with the right hand and or the left hand, and the left hand or not. And then floating the heel of the left foot off the floor a little, just a touch, just enough to balance on your sacrum. And that helps to shift the sacrum back into its correct alignment. And if you want to, you can sway the left leg from side to side, or tap the heel of the foot out to the left and then back across the body towards the right. And if I've muddled my lefts and rights, please forgive me. Okay, so taking a deep breath in and out with the left heel on the floor, and then gently releasing the right foot down. And if you want to, sliding the right foot long. So both legs are long. So if you're on the lowest set of the block doing this as well, you can. That's all good. And both legs long, open in the pelvis, the sacrum supported and tipped in the correct position to realign, arms out to the side. Just a couple of deep breaths. And if it's too intense to hold this, don't try. So if you feel your breath gripping, or your tummy muscles gripping, or your chest or jaw, shoulders gripping, then just soften out. Take a lower setting, put the feet back on the floor with the knees bent. Whatever you need to feel relaxed. We'll take a last deep breath in, any variation, and sigh out through your mouth. And then gently bending one knee and then the other to come back to center. We're going to lift the hips only enough to slide the block to its lowest setting underneath the sacrum and release down just to there. If you're already there, then that's great, because you can join us for a little bit of a counter pose for all of that work by bending both knees into the chest. And then from here, taking both feet up towards the ceiling. Now you don't need to have your feet back towards your head. That's not the object. We want the feet to be supported over the hips and the buttocks, so the weight of the legs falls into the pelvis and it's easier to hold here. A little firmness in the belly. You can choose legs up the wall if you like. And here we're going to rotate the feet at the ankles a few times in each direction, just to keep the feet soft so we're not gripping. You can keep the knees as soft as you need to as well. The idea here is not to create strain in the back of the body at all. Very good. Oh, nice cracky ankles here in the studio. Don't know how it is at home for you. And then very gently bending the knees into the chest. We'll take the feet down one at a time. We're going to lift the hips only enough to slide that block out from underneath and take the hips down to the floor. And that should hopefully feel quite delicious in the release. And when you come down with the hips on the floor, it's time for us to do our relaxation. So if you wish to relax in any position that's not Shavasana, you can, of course. I'm just going to roll to one side so I can grab my blanket and, oh, I've grabbed a pen as well, and my jumper. So putting on any clothing that is comforting or warming, because in our counter pose section, we will have cooled down quite a lot. And that's what it's for. It's supposed to, yoga is cleansing by fire. All of our asana work raises heat in the body. Not all of it, but in this class, definitely. And then in counter pose, we're trying to soften the heat. So when you're ready, coming into the relaxation pose of your choice, you can be in Shavasana with bolster or cushions underneath the legs or the knees for support. I prefer to be lying flat after all of that bridge pose, because it is where the spine is more naturally aligned, personally. And then if your legs up the wall, that's okay, you can do that. Assume you know what you're doing with it. Reaching the arms away from the body with the palms of the hands turned upwards. And we want wherever your legs are, the legs to relax, so that where the thigh bones come into the pelvis feels relaxed as well. And so for me, that means that I turn my toes outwards and the insides of my feet are almost pointing up towards the ceiling as the toes fall out, and the legs can relax here in the hip sockets. When you come into the pose of your choice, just taking a moment to allow the body to arrive there, to find its new shape, its new relationship with gravity, and its new sense of surrender. Notice now how your body feels compared to how it felt at the beginning of the class. Do you notice any areas of stiffness or holding or discomfort that have eased with your practice? If you have, then give yourself a little mental pat on the back. Well done, you. Notice those quiet areas that you were aware of at the beginning of the class. Do they still feel a sense of softness, or do they feel vibrant, energized, strengthened? Maybe something else that you notice. Bring your awareness to the breath that you're breathing right now, and again, notice if it's different from the breath that you had at the beginning of our class. And then gently taking your awareness through the body to purposefully release any tension that you find, starting at the crown of your head. Feel a softening of the skin over the head and the scalp. Feel the forehead relax, the area around the eyes, the tongue and the jaw, the sides of the head, the back of the head. A softening through the neck, the throat, shoulders. Allow the arms and hands and fingers to be heavy and relaxed. Surrender the weight of the shoulder blades, the back of the body, the buttocks. Soften the chest, the abdomen, the navel, the pelvis. Release the backs of the legs, the heels of the feet, softening the knees and the ankles and the hips. And allow the feet, the weight of the feet to surrender down, letting go of any last vestiges of tension, holding. Take a deep breath in and sigh out through your mouth, one purposeful breath. Allow your breath to find a natural, deep, slow rhythm, relaxing a little deeper with every exhalation. Gently begin to deepen your breath. Bring your awareness into your hands and your feet by rubbing the pad of your thumb over your fingertips. Then wiggling your fingers and toes, rotating your ankles and wrists. And when you feel ready, taking a long deep breath in, stretching the body in any way that feels good. Maybe stretching the mouth in a yawn. And when you're ready, gathering your knees into your chest, making any movements that feel good with your spine, or swaying your head from side to side to release your neck. Taking your time, but in your own time, finding your way onto your side. It doesn't matter which side. Just taking a moment to keep the eyes closed and let the body come around a little bit at a time. Again, taking all the time you need. And when you're ready, finding your way into a comfortable seated position and placing the hands over the center of the chest. Taking this moment to be grateful, be thankful for something. Thankful for the love in your life, for the lightness in your heart, even if it's not all of the time. For the time and the space for yoga. And let your body thank you with a smile. When you're ready, opening your eyes. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this practice. I hope you enjoyed this first foray back to yoga after our break. I hope your body feels amazing now. I know mine does. And I look forward to seeing you next time.